Cool.
Okay.
Great spot.
Yay.
Let's do
it. Well, hi guys. Welcome to my first book video. Of course you want to leave. For today's first video, I figured we would do an April what I read in April. Also pick my May TBR. Usually those are two separate videos if you're an actual booktuber. I think that's how we're gonna kick off this new addition to my channel. If this is the first time you're ever seeing me on your screen, hi, my name is Maggie. This is my library and I love to read. I always have ever since I was a kid. I just sneezed. I thought I was gonna be an author when I was a kid. I wrote books all the time. Me and my best friend Becca Zimmerman, we would call each other constantly and read each other our books, like paragraph by paragraph. And they were always extremely traumatic. A parent had to die. A parent had to die, that is for sure. April started off really strong. I pretty much ended March and started April on Queen of Shadows. If you don't know, part of the Throne of Glass series from Sarah J. Maas. I read ACOTAR, all 5 books, last year. I was late to the party, but if ACOTAR has no fans, I am dead. Dare I say my favorite series of all time. I recommend it to everybody. My friends that don't read fantasy because they read like cool girl serious books, they've read it, they're obsessed. So if you are one of the few people that have not read the ACOTAR series, take this as your sign, go pick it up, go read it. Okay, back to Throne of Glass. So I started Throne of Glass a little while after finishing ACOTAR because I needed more Sarah J. Maas in my life, but it is completely different than ACOTAR. ACOTAR is true romantasy, whereas Throne of Glass is true fantasy. There is romance, but it's just different. People swear by and love this series. The last 2 books are truly getting me. Every time I pick up a Throne of Glass book, it takes me like 100 pages to get back into the world. But then once I'm in, I'm obsessed. The way Sarah J. Maas's mind works and how she weaves all of these plots, these threads throughout everything is amazing, incredible. I believe my next step in the series is to do the, what's it called? So you read 2 books at the same time and you're flipping back and forth because it's like 2 different POVs. My brain's not working. I think that's next. I have Empire of Storms on my shelf, but I need to get the next one. I'm very excited to do that, but that was my first book of the month. I love switching things up throughout the month, so I wanted to pick up a romance next. I picked up The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. I've had this on my shelf for, I don't know, I feel like a while, and I just haven't had the urge to pick it up until this month, and I'm glad I did. It's a quick, easy read. It's definitely not one of my favorite romances I've ever read, and not because it's bad. It just wasn't my favorite. I still thought it was super cute. If you don't know what this is about, this is a billionaire romance series. Pretend Walt Disney had 3 grandsons and they all have their own love stories. That is like this. I think the reason why I wasn't obsessed with this is because I personally couldn't relate to the main character very much. I don't know why, because I think if you read it, you'd be like, she's kind of like you. I loved the different side characters. It was very sweet, and I'm going to continue with this trilogy. And then I finished a series, which is so exciting. One of my goals for 2024 is to finish the series that I've started in 2023. This is book 3, The Final Gambit. This was so good. This might have been my favorite. I couldn't put it down. It was so interesting. I love these characters. I really recommend it. If you don't know what it is, basically picture a teenage girl ending up with this insane life opportunity where she inherits this stranger's money. And he has 4 grandsons that are like, why has he chosen you to be the one to inherit? You don't even know who he is. These are just so easy and fun to read. Highly recommend. Okay, and then I was in another fantasy mood. I gave this book to my sister for Christmas. I knew she would love it, and I knew I wanted to read it too. It was so much fun. The way that I picture this world is kind of like Disney-esque Descendants fantasy in a way. Very colorful. The stakes are high. It's not like Throne of Glass level high stakes, if that makes sense. And if you've read it, you probably get it. The banter between 2 of these characters is so amazing. I love the male love interest. It kept me on my toes. It was so much fun. At one point, it was just a little too long, just a little bit. I'm not gonna knock it for that too much because overall, I just loved it so much. And I'm so excited to go pick up the novella that's next. And then I believe there's another book coming out this summer. I cannot believe this was this author's first book, or at least first published book. It's so impressive, very inspiring to me as someone that loves to write. And the way that this book ends, the cliffhanger, just the last 20 pages of this book were so like what's going on. And that's like the best part about a fantasy. Okay, and then I picked up a fiction. Like I said, I like to switch it up through the month. And so I read Anxious People by Frederick. I don't know if it's Frederick or just Frederick. I don't think he's American, so it's probably like Frederick Bachman. I'm sorry if that's not how you say your name. I felt deep emotions and connections to these, to the characters in this story, which it's a very quick read, but the way that he weaves this tale is so fascinating. You're constantly trying to like puzzle things together as you're reading it, which is very engaging. I don't even want to tell you anything about this book because I was pretty blind going into it, and I'm really glad I was. The way it's described on the cover is it says like I was laughing out loud while reading, and at first I was like, how is anyone laughing reading this? I'm actually so depressed. But then you do laugh out loud. I just really enjoyed it, and I really want to read more of this author's work. I didn't know whether to include this or not. I'm filming this video a couple days before April ends. I just started this book yesterday. This is The Daughters of Block Island. It's like a gothic thriller, modern day thriller mix, but so far I'm loving it. I don't think this is a very popular book because there's only like 4,000 reviews on Goodreads. My mom got this for me for Christmas because my fiance and I got engaged in Block Island. We'll see what I rate it at the end. We are going to be choosing my TBR for May. I wrote down some prompts. Some of them are actual names of books on my shelf. Some are just more abstract to allow me more choice. And I think I'll pick 5. I think 5 is safe. I am not a full-time booktuber. I work every day, so I don't have that much time to read. I just like reading before bed, like on the weekends, and you know, whatever. Like a normal person. I read like a normal person because that's what I am. The first one, Things We Hide from the Light. This is a great pick because I've had this book on my TBR for a long time. I still haven't even taken off the Target sticker. Okay, I'm gonna work on that. The first book is Things We Never Got Over. I absolutely ate it up. So good, so good. Is this Childhood Friends to Lovers? Don't really remember. It's about the brother of the mailman character from the first book, Nash. I'm very excited because A, I just want to check it off my list, and B, because it's such a fun like spring and summer romance, and it's May. Book that relates to the Tortured Poets department. I have been obsessed with TTPT. It's in my brain constantly. I've been a 1975 girl since 2012, so this album just hits different for me. It's so good. So I wrote this prompt, and I actually didn't have a thought in my head of what book it could relate to. I just have it on the brain, so we're really gonna have to think about this. Okay, the first thought that came to mind, should we shuffle? Okay, there's so many ways we can go about this, and I've not thought any of them through. So the first book that came to my mind I was just thinking of, A Touch of Darkness. This, I believe, is a Persephone and Hades romance story, so this feels very tortured. It reminds me, I'm sure, well, I haven't read it, and I don't know the mythology too well. Like, I know it a little bit. I saw Hades Town on Broadway. Don't even get me started, it was so good. So I know a little bit about the mythology, but it could be But Daddy I Love Him, it could be Fresh Out the Slammer. Okay, I'm gonna try the idea where I shuffle. Oh, But Daddy I Love Him, I had just said that. Is that telling us that this is what it has to be? Is that the sign? Another idea is Cleopatra and Frankenstein. Cleo struggles with depression, Frank with drinking. This could be tortured. This could be tortured. Okay, the fact that I shuffled and got But Daddy I Love Him makes me think I need to choose Touch of Darkness. So that's what we're gonna do. You can tell me if that's a terrible choice. Oh, continue a series. This also could have been Tortured Poets Department. I love Magnolia Parks. And I have the next Daisy Hates, The Great Undoing on my TBR. I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I'm ready. The way Magnolia Parks The Long Way Home ended, that's why I've been putting this off. I don't know if I'm emotionally prepared. 2 more books. Hardcover book. I don't have that many options for this. The 2 that I'm thinking of, the first one is The Prisoner's Throne by Holly Black. This also is a continuation of a series. It's a continuation of The Stolen Heir, which is a continuation of the Cruel Prince trilogy. I did not love The Stolen Heir, I gotta be honest. Another option is Golden Girl by Ellen Hildebrand. One of my besties is letting me borrow this book, so this would be a good chance to read it and then return it to her. I feel like this is so summery and we're not quite there, so I think I'm gonna go with The Prisoner's Throne. One more. The oldest book on my TBR. I think I'm the last person on planet Earth to read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. It's time I read it. It's time. It's fate has decided. I mean, over 2 million copies sold. Why haven't I read it? I am one of 2 million. Well, no, I'm one. I can't do math today. Okay, this is my May TBR. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for watching my first book video. I hope you had fun. I hope you read a lot this month. Bye.